братон. Я тебя выебу, подожди. Подожди, я тебя выебу. Я тебя выебу.
Чьи-то раз я твою маму ебал, сука.
Эй! Чекай, голубя.
You alright, mate?
It's okay, it's okay.
She's cut. Get cut. Look at that. Oh, we gotta get a medic. Get a medic. Who are these guys? Connor's guys. What the?
Your story's interesting because your career in general, because you've always been an exciting fighter, and then you took some time off for whatever reasons. We don't have to get into it. So you had, there was like a little bit of a lull there, and then you just came back with fucking pure vengeance, and you're ranked number 4 in the world now, and you're on this big win streak, and you were the last fight on Fox, and you kind of had, which was a blessing, you had that blessing. When I say blessing, you did lose a fight, but it showed how good of a fighter you are with the Khabib fight. You got that fight on how much notice?
It was like a day. It was a little more than 24 hours, I think. That was so crazy. That was the craziest 3-day period I think I'll ever have in my life. If there's anything crazier than that, bring it on, because I don't think anything could ever match that.
Because how did that go down for the listeners that don't know? Because you were originally slated to fight
Paul Felder in a 3-round pay-per-view opener.
That's right.
And then Thursday, you hear Ferguson, a week before Ferguson pulls out, and I actually called my manager. I was like, try to get me in there. And he was like, yeah, they're going with Holloway or this guy, that guy. You're like at the bottom of the list. But I try, And then Thursday, the media day, Conor attacks the bus. So I was on that bus.
Were you on the bus?
I was on the bus.
Was it as crazy as everyone said?
It was crazy.
Really?
It was crazy. It was mayhem. It was the closest thing I could, up until there was a point where I thought it was a terrorist attack, and we were like,
goddamn.
We were sitting there, people would start banging on the bus. So I'm thinking like
these hooligans are banging on the bus.
I think at first fans, for a second I'm thinking fans, but then it was too aggressive. So I thought they were running the bus had just started to pull away. So I'm like, holy shit, they're running somebody over, and someone's trying to stop.
Fair point.
You're killing,
Yeah.
And then boom, something comes flying through the window. I was like, and everyone's freaking out. Reed Harris was on that bus.
What did Reed do?
Reed was like, who are these guys? And then Chris Provino was funny. Chris Provino, he got into the position of the plane. If the plane's going down, he got into
No, he didn't. He's like, God, no. Don't take me.
That's it. He got into the position
calm down, bro.
No, it was crazy.
Really?
It was crazy.
It was because
and it was on the other side of the bus, so in the back, we couldn't see anything. We just saw something flying through the window. Glass is flying, the girls are screaming. It was crazy. Because
I feel like I wasn't there, and I saw the one video. Then when I saw professional fighters and their team, who are also tough as shit guys, complaining, it was crazy. I'm like, come on, you're cage fighters.
No,
it's legit
that
concern.
That was crazy.
Oh, wow.
But then I saw him run around.
And you're like, go, Conor.
And I was like, oh, this is great. I pulled out my phone and I started videotaping. I was like,
did you think to get out of the bus?
No, there was no they weren't letting anyone out.
No one could get off.
They were just trying. There was so many people around. We didn't know who was who. It just happened so fast. They started backing the bus up. The bus really never stopped moving, I don't think. It was pulling forward.
Slow?
Yeah, it was forward, and then they just backed it up into an elevator. In Brooklyn, there's no parking. It's you go from across the street. The bus pulls down into the underground,
arena?
yeah, and there's a turning thing, so the bus pulls on, and then it turns you.
Oh wow!
And then the bus goes through.
Rotates.
So there's no
Shit.
So we were on that thing, and that thing turned, and
so you're kind of sitting ducks for a little bit.
Yeah, we had nowhere to.
And then you're on the same bus as Khabib.
He was right. Yeah, he was right behind me.
And what was Khabib doing during this?
Well, he was kind of the same thing. He didn't know what was going on, and then he figured it out. And they were sitting there yelling at each other through the window.
Did he want to get off?
He did. He did want to get off. He did want to get off. And they're like, no one's getting off the bus. People were trying to get off once it kind of settled down.
But Reed's a burly dude.
Yeah, there was no. He was like, shut the door.
Yeah, you listen to Reed.
Yeah. There was no.
So you go from that to find out all the shenanigans.
Yeah.
And then Friday is the weigh-in.
The weigh-in. I weighed in. I weighed in 156. 150. I had to be 156 because it was a regular fight.
Yeah.
So I weighed in. I was 0.2 over 155 and a half, which is championship weight. But I thought I was fighting a regular fight, so I was like, whatever. I would have, made the championship weight had I known, but I didn't.
Sure.
So I make weight. I go back to my room, and then I start seeing on Twitter that Holloway, they won't let him cut the rest of the weight. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. This is going to be insane. I'm thinking,
Ortega, maybe?
I'm thinking they're going to maybe bring somebody in, but, at that point, there's no time. There's no time, So it's got to be somebody.
Maybe it was you?
I said there's got to be a shot, but there was so many 55ers on the card. There was Anthony Pettis. There was Felder, too, who's like, he's a commentator.
For sure. They like him.
They like him.
Yeah.
So, and me, on the other hand, I kind of have like a rough history, so I was like,
You're an outspoken guy. You don't give you the opportunity.
But then it's in New York. I'm a New Yorker.
Hometown kid.
So I'm seeing on Twitter, Anthony Pettis is in the Felder, but he's unranked, so they won't let him. I was like, fuck this, I'm going downstairs. And I went downstairs, and I saw Sean Shelby across the hotel, and I'm like, yo, Shelby, I'm your guy, just yelling at him. And he was just like, oh, God.
He's like, God damn.
Like, yeah. And then someone had a picture, someone took a picture of me yelling at him, and it's hysterical. I'm like, kind of like this. And then they put right next to me the Statue of Liberty.
I love it.
It's hysterical.
I love it.
Hysterical.
And Shelby was like, all right, whatever. And then you got a call after
so
that.
So then I go upstairs, and they're like, they called me, and they're like, bring down your underwear. So I was like, bring down my underwear. Because it's a championship fight. 0.2 is like a pair of underwear.
Yeah,
so they weighed the underwear, and it was 0.2. So subtract the underwear, I'm championship weight. But the athletic commission wouldn't honor that.
So you had to
it wasn't a title fight, but it was a title fight. I was 0.2 over for a championship weight, but it was kind of like weird.
Technically, I don't think it matters because the fans see it as, and the UFC sees it. The commission might not, but you'd be the real lightweight champion of the world.
Yeah.
So then you get the Khabib fight, which is interesting because with Khabib, who is notoriously known as one of the greatest grapplers to ever fight in the UFC, you go from fighting a guy in Paul Felder who you're not really worried about his grappling.
Yeah.
You're not really worried about his
I was
wrestling.
thinking
How much wrestling did you do in your training camp?
I was probably looking to shoot more on him, than worried about defending takedowns. Wasn't really a thought in my mind.
You're talking about apples and oranges. For people don't know, you're talking about training for one thing, they show up in a completely different thing.
Yeah.
And it's a 5-round fight.
And now 5-round fight. I had never really, even trained for a 5-round fight, thought about it too much, I wasn't really.
What did Matt Serra and Ray Longo say? Because what's interesting is you have Matt Serra in your corner who you guys have similar stories, right? He's kind of this underdog, and he fights GSP and knocks him out,
Yeah.
And he's, became world champion that way.
Same thing.
So I'm sure he's like,
Chris Weidman.
Chris Weidman.
Took out Anderson
that's kind of your guys' thing. Like, you guys are just dogs.
Yeah. Ray was sitting right next to me. I was like, what do you think? They're because there was a point where I didn't know if it was going to be a 3-round fight or a 5-round fight. So my manager called me, and he was like, would you fight Khabib on a 3-round fight? And I was like, yeah, Ray was like, yeah, absolutely, And then, but it wouldn't be for a title, but it would. He said, listen, dude, whatever it is, just this is the shot. You don't get shots like this.
He's right.
I think he knew that even if I didn't, I was going to perform. I was going out there, I was going to fight.
Because you never not perform. It's not like you never don't show up. Like, it's always, even when you lose, it's always a fucking scrap. Yeah. So with Khabib, again, it was a cursing and a blessing because people will say, oh, Khabib took that fight on short notice, but so did you, and you weren't trained for a 5-round fight. But we've never seen Khabib look like that. It's the worst he's ever looked.
Yeah.
And a big part of it is because of what you were doing.
No, I think that's...
And then I don't think you got the respect until... even I was like, I wasn't hating him. Like, it was a 5-round fight. Khabib wasn't ready for that, and, Al's a gamer, and he also did his thing. So everyone was like, yeah, but we did see... kind of a chink in Khabib's armor. Especially as the rounds went on, he couldn't take you down. You were starting to strike with you. You were landing big shots, talking shit to him, get him out of his comfort zone. It was an amazing fight. And then I think the reason why you're ranked number 4 now, you're going to have a big fight in front of you, is because then you get Kevin Lee. And Kevin Lee is no punk, man. Kevin Lee is no punk at all. He's beat some of the best, and people thought he was going to get a title shot next, and then you just outclassed him. Straight up outclassed him. Yeah, an amazing fight.
I knew I had a tough task ahead of me. He's tough. And in the fight, I felt that he's strong. He does
it all pretty well, too, man.
He does.
Everything he does well.
Yep.
Explosive.
Yeah.
And then you beat him, and now you're ranked number 4 in the world. And I've seen all your interviews before, and leading up to coming on this show. And you kind of keep going at Conor, right? Because you want a guy, you're ranked 4, so you want champ 1 through 3. You don't want to go backwards.
Absolutely.
Justin Gaethje doesn't make sense. Obviously, he has a fight, but it's either Poirier, Conor, Khabib, or Tony.
Yep. I think it's gonna be one of those 4 guys. Max is coming up, so or thinking about his possibility.
Max is coming.
There's been rumors about that happening, so
he's coming.
We'll see how we'll see how it all plays out. Tomorrow is the Nevada State Athletic Commission's hearing.
Oh, are they finally getting around to it? Jesus Christ!
So
get to work, you fucks.
Right, and once that happens, I think the division will kind of get matched up, and we'll see, a timeline of when everyone's fighting, and we'll see what happens.
It's exciting
stuff.
It's exciting stuff. Everyone's kind of just wait. Yeah, I think everyone, the UFC, your division, everyone's just waiting for that hearing tomorrow.
Yeah.
See what they do.
Yeah.
Because they're going to dish out some suspensions for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
What would you do? You were on the bus, because you've obviously been on the bus. You saw how it went down, how intense it was. As you're telling me this, I'm like, I should have given people a little more credit. I'm like, fuck, if Al saying that shit, it was fucking crazy.
It was crazy.
So imagine, and you're a professional fighter, number 4 in the world.
Yeah.
Imagine just regular folk.
Imagine the poor bus driver.
Dude.
This guy, he probably doesn't even know what fighing is. I don't know. I got a bunch of fighters, these fighting guys in the back. I drove them around.
Easy work.
Yeah.
And then fucking a month from now, like, hey, you want to go to the Barclays Center? He's like, no, absolutely not. Absolutely fucking not. They're savages.
He's got like some.
So what would you do if you're in Nevada?
For that thing, I mean, that's a little bit different than the bus thing. So, when Khabib hopped over, I don't know, a little fine, a little suspension, but I think he should be able to fight pretty soon.
Me too. Yeah, fight him a little bit, but not a big deal.
Yeah,
not a huge deal.
It wasn't like if he went in the crowd and attacked a fan or something like that. People were comparing this to the thing that happened with the basketball with.
Oh no, Ron Artest.
Yeah, totally
no way,
different.
man.
Nowhere even close.
No, not at all.
No one got hurt. The UFC did a great job of keeping that thing contained.
I agree.
Because that could have been
an absolute nightmare.
That could have went the wrong way real quick.
And Dana played it well inside the octagon. He's like, dude, I can't put this belt around you. This crowd is going to riot. Let's just get you in the back and get the belt. It was smart.
Yeah.
It was smart, man.
Yeah. I don't know. I would have liked to see what would have happened if he did put the belt on him.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested in that too. Pure chaos. As long as innocent bystanders don't get hurt, but I don't mind a little chaos. Gives me shit to talk about.
Yeah.
I want you to subscribe. Hey, I'm not joking about that subscribing, okay?